We are the Spoiler Kings. We are talking about Shang-Chi. Now I finally know how to pronounce his name. Because they kind of make it a point in there to how to properly pronounce his name.
I still struggle. I still struggle with his name. So
when he said his name is like when Aquafina, her character is Katie,
Yes.
where she was making fun of him for like, your name is Sean and you changed it to Sean. So I'm like, oh, it's like Sean with a G at the end. So it's like Sean. I was like, I'm like, cool, okay.
Sounds about right.
I was like, that seems pretty cool that they did something like that. But yeah, man, we're doing, that's the newest MCU movie. So it was only, I know what we're, before we get into like the synopsis and stuff, it only was in theaters. So we're gonna talk about some of the box office numbers that it did, and what it means going forward, possibly. Then we're gonna get into some of the, we'll do that at the end. We'll get into some of the good stuff, some of the bad stuff, our reviews, and then some of the Rotten Tomatoes and box office and kind of the news behind this story. And then if you want to do a little extra episode at the end where we talk about the post-credit scenes.
Sure.
So if you're watching live, hang out with us a little bit at the end, where we do we're gonna do the post-credit scenes, because there were two post-credit scenes, like normal Marvel kind of, I don't know, like the normal Marvel movies, like what they usually do. Got a mid credit and then a post credit.
Yeah, they foreshadow what's gonna happen later, type stuff. The usual suspects.
Yeah. But that was one thing we, like, before we went live, was we usually do a little synopsis about it. And it kind of sucks, like you said. So we'll probably just we'll watch the trailer and we'll talk about it for a little bit, and then we'll get into what we like and dislike about the film. Cool. Ready? Watch the trailer?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's check it out.
So man, like, so it's basically Shang-Chi, his father, thank you, Oli. His father, like, is what, 1,000 years old, and because of these 10 rings, he's able to live kind of forever, more or less.
Right.
Which is really interesting. I don't know if you know the original Mandarin, who he really doesn't go by the Mandarin in this movie. But that original character, the 10 rings were like rings on his finger,
Finger rings.
And they all controlled a different aspect of stuff. I can see why they stayed away from that, because that would be very confusing, especially after the gauntlet. Well, they already did something like that. All these gems, stones mean something different. So I can see they did something different, and I don't mind it, especially the ones with around the forearm like that. There's an ancient Chinese, not ancient, but there's a Chinese like fighting technique that have those rings around there. So it was awesome. Nice. Oh, what? Holy 99 stars. Appreciate it. Heck yeah.
Thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it. Even just sharing pressing the share button is something that we appreciate. Yeah. A lot of fight scenes in this movie. We see Shang-Chi looking jacked. That's great.
Ben Kingsley the Mandarin. Oh, we are getting into that in a little bit.
What's up, Martin?
Stay tuned for that. I don't know if you watched that. Yeah. What's up, Martin? But yeah, man, I mean, they just went back old school Marvel, man. I mean, the 10 rings, you find out, were, even this scene was super cool. But yeah, you find out the 10 rings were hanging around. They were in the very first Iron Man. They're the guys who kidnapped them. And then there's a part where he's like kind of talking about his backstory and stuff like that. Right. And he looks at this monitor and he sees them. So it was like, so he was behind that, which was like really cool stuff. And just so much different, like this guy who's been alive for 1,000 years had his fingers in everything major kind of thing. Even he was like, his guys, the 10 rings, were infiltrated in Hydra, who was infiltrated into SHIELD. So he was like the hidden guys in the hidden guys that are also hidden from like the world. It was like, dude, it was like
quadruple agent.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, he was just killing it.
Samar said, or is it another Mandarin you're talking of? Because I love that guy. He's hilarious. Well, so Disney, I don't know if you saw Disney Plus before we get into it, because there is a lot of backstory to this movie. You know, in the MCU alone, you know, is the Mandarin from Iron Man 3 was supposed to be, that's the Mandarin. The Mandarin is the guy who has the 10 rings from the comic book and stuff like that. And they even address it in this movie that he kind of stole his name in a way, you know. But on Disney Plus, they released the short, or the one shot, I think they called it, where Return of the King, and that's where Trevor, who's Ben Kingsley, who the fake terrorist guy, he's in jail. I don't know if you saw that short or not. This is like also came out like shortly after Iron Man 3 came out.
I haven't seen that short.
I highly recommend it. If you have Disney Plus, go watch it. It's like 15 minutes. Yeah, it's like 15 minutes. And it's like, it happens right after Iron Man 3. So Trevor, Ben Kingsley, the fake Mandarin, he's in jail, and people like, he has all these fanboys that love him. They're like, do the voice. And he's like, you know, does the stupid, you know, voice is like, you know, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, or whatever the hell he says. Yeah, the actor, Trevor, the actor. And he's in jail, and he's getting interviewed by a guy, and the guy, he starts to get up, and he's like, oh, you don't even know what you did. And he's like, what? You know, because Trevor was a dumbass, you know, he was just like, you know, ignorant. I won't say dumbass, but he's ignorant, junkie, always high kind of thing, you know. But yeah, you kind of like, you like, the interview guy is telling him like, you didn't even know what you're doing, who you took the name from. He goes, he wants his name back. And he like kills the guards and everything, and he like you know, has a gun to Trevor's head, and you see the tattoo of the 10 rings on his wrist, and then that's how it ends.
Spoiler alert.
So well, that's how the that one shot on Disney Plus ends, which that came out so long, years ago, right after Iron Man 3 that came out.
Okay, yeah.
So that's been a while. Yeah, he's an actor.
Yeah.
So
what's up, Brian? We got Brian and Martin in the building.
Yeah, we got Brian. But Trevor, there's no, I already knew there was no way they're not gonna have Trevor in this movie. He was the Mandarin, and this is the story of the real Mandarin, you know, the bad guy. So the guy he stole his name from, you know, that he didn't even know about. So I knew they were gonna have him in it. We'll get into his part of the movie in a little bit. But he is in the movie, which was pretty awesome for me. I enjoyed that part a lot. But yeah, man, anything else like with the story wise? It's just kind of like father versus son type of thing.
Yeah, it really is. The father, his goal is to reclaim his wife's soul or whatnot from the other side. And, you know, spoiler alert is what we do. He tries to go for that, but it's not actually her that's talking to him. He thinks like some spirit is talking to him through some kind of supernatural clause, but it's not. We find out later on that it's not. And so to kind of talk to her, he has to open this portal, which is super sketchy, by the way. Like, homie, you've been through thousands of years and this finessed you? Come on, dog. Like, it doesn't match up. But he falls for it anyways because it has to do with his wife. And that was his one love.
Like in love, blind, so much in love.
Real blind love. This is the type of movie that you want to watch with like your significant other. I would definitely recommend. But besides that, just for the like love story type, they dig into that a lot, and they kind of touch your heartstrings because they keep talking about the wife and her land and whatnot, and her land is super valuable into what like you can get access to. At least we find out. Yeah. Favorite parts of the movie?
Yeah.
Want to do that, man?
Yeah. Go for it, man. You want to go first?
So, my favorite part was, man, what's his name? I gotta get his name real quick. Is Machete Hand. Machete Hand was.
I'm gonna get into that. Because Brian said Shang-Chi. We'll get into that one in a little bit, Brian.
Okay.
So yeah, so you said Machete. What's his name? Razorfist.
Razorfist. There you go. Man, that thing transformed like I don't know what kind of technology was going on there, but that shit looked dope. And like it didn't take much to make that thing transform, but it looked cool, whatever it did. Hilarious. I mean, not hilarious. It was super, super cool, like to see.
Cool.
And then another favorite character of mine was Clev. Do you remember Clev? He had like very small parts, real like 3-second clips of him. Zach Cherry. Zach Cherry. He was the guy that was like live streaming what was going on the train or whatever.
Oh yeah,
real goofy dude. But like I don't know.
He was in Spider-Man.
Oh, was he? Okay.
He was in a few other MCU movies as like as a character in the background. Okay. He's the one that tells Spider-Man, "Hey, Spider-Man, do a flip." You know, I remember that. Like,
okay, that was okay.
That's him. And he was in another Marvel movie, like kind of in the background as well.
I love when background characters like that kind of get some light and whatnot on the big screen. Like for example, on one of the first Spider-Man movies, when the New Yorkers were like, "Hey man, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us." Like I don't know, I appreciate those little moments in films.
Yeah, he goes. So Brian said, "Razor face." Was it no? Or was it laser face? I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe they're related.
It's possible.
Maybe they're related. Yeah, like they have like a dad in common and got kidnapped as well. I don't know. But that's funny. It's just such stupid name. So stupid name. But the sword weapon was pretty cool. I'll give him that. Yeah. But yeah, man. What else? Yeah. Anything
really I mean, something that really stood out to me. The ant. The ant was badass. Her martial arts was just top tier. Up there, taser face. Nah, man, taser face. There is that something. Yeah. But the ant was super dope. The fact that like, and they kind of addressed it too in the film about like, oh yeah, like women are now equal to men. You know, being in the same, you know, arenas or places where you can train for martial arts. And so in this film, they kind of show off like, hey, women are strong too. And so you see the ant like whoop ass and like really defend her land from dad. How do you say, what was his name? Zoo. I forget his name, man. Do something. Anyways. But yeah, really badass. Really badass to see women empowerment. For sure.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. But he was the Mandarin. That's what they have him credited as, but
as the Mandarin, okay.
Yeah. You know, and they even say in the movie, the dad, he's like, I never went by that name. He actually made fun of that. He's like, they called me everything else, and he listed all the other names he went by in the comic books. Yep. But he goes, oh, but them, you know, they brought fear into the world for an orange or for a Chinese dish. That's what he said. You know, the Mandarin. You know, he's like, that's funny. They wanted them to fear an orange, I guess, or something. So he kind of made fun of that. You know, and that was like very like interesting. You know, for me, I thought was like, you know, he's this really big bad guy that was like making fun of the guy who like stole his name. You know, quote unquote, you know, and he's like, you know, so that was really interesting how they were able to tie it in, but still be different than the comic book. It was, you know, it was pretty interesting because in the comic book, the Mandarin is kind of a badass, and he's a major villain for Iron Man, like a major villain for Iron Man, and he and that's one thing that's gonna be like really upsetting for me is like they're never gonna have Mandarin and Iron Man like really meet, but also this Mandarin is very different than the comic book one, which I arrogant, dude.
So arrogant.
yeah. What did you think about the Mandarin as a villain?
As a villain, I didn't really get too much or too many villain vibes from him. I know he was doing whatever it took, like, to get to his path, even like, you know, beating his son's ass and his daughter, throwing his daughter too. Like, he's just real insensitive too to like his family. You know, he'd rather, you know, put his energy and time into these rings, his ring homies, the 10 ring, what is it called? The 10 ring squad 10 that he, and all that before his damn kids. Like, homie got problems, man.
Yeah. I don't know if I felt like that, because I felt like when he, like, well, the big thing is, like, he had a son and a daughter. He had Shang-Chi, and he had what's the daughter's name?
Lee?
Xiling? Was it Ling or something like that?
I think just Lee. L.I.
Just Lee?
Yeah. Someone.
Yeah. And but it was like the daughter's like, you can't train because you're a daughter or because you're a girl, kind of thing, you know. And that does change by the end of the film. You know, that kind of big thing is like, hey, women are strong. Marvel does a great job at making the villains into more complex people, and I agree with Brian with this, because he's got to be one of my favorite Marvel villains so far. Thanos is still Thanos. Thanos is the best of the best. I don't know if they're ever going to be able to top that, but him was very different for me, because like, he was a bad guy. He did a lot of effed up stuff for 1,000 years. Yeah, but then once he found his wife, he gave that up. You know, he's like, I finally found somebody I can grow old with, you know, and he took the rings off, had 2 kids, loved the wife, and then the wife winds up dying. And then it kind of brought him back into that realm. He put the rings back on and trained his son to be this killer at the age of like 7, you know. So, and then he kind of starts to hear the voice of his wife, which you find out it's not. It's kind of like there's like a being using the rings to communicate to him, to kind of like brainwash him a little bit by using his loved ones. And that's what I liked about him, was like, he went really bad, then he gave it all up to be really good. And once a bad thing happened, you know, his wife died, he went back to it, but he didn't go back into like taking over the world, you know, because he's like, I've been there, done that, you know, and I still have my guys in everything. So I'm not worried about that. And he put all his money, all his stuff into my wife, you know, how can, you know, about her and stuff like that, you know, like John Wick. Kind of, yeah. You know, so like, instead of a dog, it's his wife. But it got him so blind that like even his kids weren't able to get him out of that brainwash, because he's like, my wife is back there and I'm gonna get her no matter what, because I love her, you know. And it's like, even his kids are not, you know, gonna stand in his way. So for me, it was like, I like that Marvel is finally getting past a copy and paste version of the good guy. You know, it's like, here's Iron Man, here's another evil version of Iron Man, you know, like, here's Black Panther, here's an evil version of Black Panther, you know. So I always hated when they did that, and they did that so much in the early years of MCU. This one was like, they gave the bad guy a complex story that was like, he was a bad guy, but then his love and family and all these other issues were coming in. And it's like, when does obsession, you know, when does love turn into that obsession, kind of what he was getting into, you know? So it was very, very interesting. He's definitely one of my favorite bad guys in the MCU.
Now, I got a question for you. So, if he's, and I see why you really like him, and I agree that those things make him great, right? Being that he's a normal ass dude that has normal ass, you know, problems, you know, like he's after that one girl, and we've all can kind of relate to that. That's dope. But my kind of thing is, when I rate a villain by how much I think they're villainous, is what their whatchamacallit, their weaknesses are. So what are his weaknesses? We kind of see that his weakness is his wife, and that's way too easy. I would use that against him like that, and I don't know how strong that is. Like, I know Superman, you got to get some rare ass, I know it's the wrong universe, but anyways, you got to get some rare ass stone that's green and it's kryptonite, things like that. It make more sense to me than what homie was going through. I don't know. I see his relatability was dope, and it makes him more of a complex villain. But like, I don't know, man. His weakness was just subpar for me, and I feel like they could have did something maybe better than the wife. I don't know, man. Something else that would, like, his kids just meant nothing to him compared to the wife, and that's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of always the thing for him too. But also, it's like he was done being a bad guy by the time he was in the story. You know what I mean? Like they showed his past and all the messed up stuff he did in the past, and all, like, just destroyed everything and ruled everything and literally took over the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's over, and now he became a husband and a father, and put that all away, and it came back to haunt him, kind of thing. So I don't know. I think his, like, I mean, it is very tropey that they use, like, his love, it was his weakness, kind of thing.
Yeah, they didn't double down. I mean, like, if you're gonna do that, double down, and like have I don't know, a hologram of the wife or something, like, to really like entice him and really show that he's like just drooling for her. They didn't even do anything like that, and I was like, damn. I was waiting for something to like have him like really fall head over heels type thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like when he first explained with Dynasty Fightline. I know this might be off topic, with Tom Brady 3 years out from being when you were Shang-Chi. That's funny. He's got the he's gonna have his own 10 rings in a few years, and then he'll live forever. Yeah, that's true. That's funny.
The fountain of youth right there. Trying to win 10 Super Bowl rings.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't mind the brainwashing, because when he was first explaining, he goes, "She came and talked to me." I was like, okay, he lost his mind. He's crazy. Like, he went so far into like digging for her that he lost his mind. But then you're like, oh, like, you start to hear it too. You're like, oh shit, okay. I'm like, who's really? Because I'm like, oh, there must be a bigger bad guy, which there kind of was a bigger bad guy in the thing, because there's this like evil spirit dragon thing that like kind of tricked him, but yeah. Brian said
sold his soul
to Mephisto. Always looking for Mephisto. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed the Mandarin. I thought he was really, really cool. And I think it's just that tunnel vision, that blind love, kind of like blinded him to like what he's doing to his kids, because especially after what he did with his son was just made him into like this killer, so
without regarding his emotional strains or nothing. Like, his kid was getting his ass beat by the dad's friends, pretty much, or his homies.
That stealer.
Yeah, that was messed up. That was traumatizing. He had to beat up a tree. Bruh, for what? So you can be an assassin? That's man.
Yeah, but yeah, the CGI I thought was pretty good. Especially at the end, there was a lot of CGI. I enjoyed the hidden tiger, kind of crouching dragon style of things they did at times. Because I like that too. I know it was pandering to the Chinese market, but it didn't feel like it was horseshoed in. Like, it felt like it was part of the story, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that, it made more sense rather than like John Cena coming in and talking Chinese to like a group of people. That is just stupid. It's like, this is, at least it felt as part of the story. You know what I mean?
Right.
And everything like that. But it's just like Aquafina was also kind of like, I really liked her character in it. They usually make her the goofball kind of thing.
she leveled
lot
up.
of people.
She leveled up in this one. She really showed off what she can do acting wise, because I always like how you just said, thought of her as like a kind of a goofy character, but her playing as Katie, you see her like start training herself, where she's not even in this like Marvel Universe world of like fighting and whatnot. She's just a regular person like you and me, where she starts training with a crossbow, or what was it, a crossbow? Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, the crossbow. Yeah.
And she starts getting good. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And it looked natural with her. It didn't look so forced. She was doing good. She was real funny too in this one. She has some nice scenes.
Yeah. Brian said he loved Aquafina. Yeah, I do too. So I felt like he loved his son and ignored his daughter. Just wanted them to be a complete family. Yeah, I mean, I think once the mom died, I think his mindset just kind of completely switched to, I'm not a father anymore. I'm a warlord. So I have to train him to be the next warlord. And then my daughter is just there, kind of thing, you know? But one thing Aquafina, I guess a lot of people are criticizing, which I don't mind, but obviously you got all the fucking, you know, dickheads out there that Katie was basically a Mary Sue, which I don't agree with. They're like, oh, she went from valet to killing, you know, big monsters with a bow and arrow in less than one day, you know? But I'm like, first of all, they're magic fucking arrows. Who gives a shit? I was like, what are you talking about? They're arrows made out of dragon scale. Come on, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't have to throw believability out the window with this one, you know? 10 rings? Come on.
Especially at the end like that. But I was like, they're magic arrows. Maybe she just believes in it is enough to power it to go straight. I don't know.
For real,
you know,
man.
so like people are like getting upset about like, oh, she's a Mary Sue. I'm like, I don't think so. I think what I got from it was, because even the I don't say grandmother, the older lady who was there with her told her, like, if you aim at nothing, then you miss everything. You know, like if you have nothing to aim at, then you're nowhere. So it's like she was able to focus in on this skill to the point where she was really good. You know what I mean? So people like saying she was a Mary Sue. I was like, I get no. I'm like, she was shooting a magic arrow. Come on, people were flying around. You know, because then also before we get too out of it, her homeland, the mom's homeland, the Tai Lao, I think it was Talao, I think it was.
That's a tough one.
That was a different dimension. You know, so there was like those big cat dog things that you always see like at the entrance of like Chinese doorways and stuff like that. They were like walking around. There was like all these weird like dragon horse looking thing. There was
don't take shrooms before you watch this film, or do actually. I don't know. It's up to you, but you're gonna.
We went to. Oh yeah, man. We went to Target. And when me and my girlfriend like a week ago. And we're looking at all the toys and stuff, and it had this weird thing with wings. I'm like, what is this? You know? And it showed up in the movie.
Oh shit!
And even the people in the movie are like, why is this faceless hairy pig have no like? It was really weird, and they were like flying around, and I was like, oh man! So it got kind of crazy with animals in the different dimension.
Oh yeah.
Brian said she was always good at a lot of things at Masters. From Cal Bark. Yeah. She was there. She had her masters. She was a crazy good driver. You know, she even said she was like the Asian Jeff Gordon or something like that.
Yeah, you know? That was a good line.
So I think that's what it is. Like if she puts her mind to it, she's like just really good at things. And I've met people, I've worked with people that were like that. You know, that like one dude I was working on the ambulance with, he was like an engineer. Probably one of the smartest guys I've met up to that point, you know, like the smartest guy, super smart, and he's working on an EMT with all these dummies, you know, as on the ambulance, you know, but he got things very quick, very easily. Things just like, you know, in his head, and he's like, got it, you know. So you know, so for her, they already explained she's super smart, you know. It was like she was driving, you know, and became a crazy good driver, you know. So I didn't care for her. I didn't see it like that. I didn't see that she was a Mary Sue. But there are always those dickheads, you know, that are like, oh well, you know, I don't know. So I didn't think of it like that. But
I thought she was all right.
Yeah. But I
Not,
usually, like you said, she plays a goofy character.
yeah.
And this one, she was still goofy, but good.
I'm not even an Aquafina fan, but I liked her in here, so that's saying something.
Yeah. Yeah. A few other things were in there. Ronnie Chang was in it. He was John. Um, he was the guy from the Daily Show. He's the Asian reporter in the Daily Show. He was the fight guy that helped them get into the initial fight. Benedict Wong, who plays Wong, in Doctor Strange. He was in it.
Yeah. That's nice.
How is he in everything now? He's gonna be in the next Spider-Man. He was in this movie, and I'm like, I love him. I think he's a great character. Very kind of like goofy, but can be serious at times. Like we just saw him in What If last week. That played a pretty big, small part, but small role, but big part of the show. So yeah, I mean, I want to see. Here, this is a sound clip. I want to see more Wong. There you go. I want to see him. I want to see more Wong.
He's dope, man.
But yeah,
he's fun. He's unintentionally funny. He's entertaining to watch for sure.
Yeah. So he was finding the abomination, which they didn't say it was, but he was fighting it. We saw it in the trailer, and in the movie, afterwards, you find out that it was kind of rigged. That they were buddies. I was like, huh. And then they wind up going like to get ice cream or something, or they wind up going somewhere else to train. Abomination never says a word or anything, but it was interesting. I did not expect that. Yeah, here he goes. They was awesome. Abomination was his student. Yeah, well, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that makes sense. But it's really that was interesting. It was interesting. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, man. Any other good things that you like before we get into some of the bad things?
Any good things?
No. For me, there's a lot of good things, but
there's a lot of good things. Yeah. Anything that really stood out to me? Nah. Abomination was uncredited. Yeah. Nah, that was about it for me.
Oh, he was uncredited. Well, I know he's gonna show up in the She-Hulk Disney Plus show. So there you go. We already know that. So that's probably a good. Is he gonna be a good guy now, or is he still a bad guy? Is he using Wong to learn magic to become a bad guy? I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting with that. But what were some of the things you didn't like about the movie?
The length of the movie. Pretty long movie. Yeah. I know there's a lot to be said in this movie, but I think just for me specifically, and maybe a lot of you viewers at home can kind of relate, I have a kind of a short attention span. And so this movie's over 2 hours, and man, a lot going on. And I know it's a Marvel movie, so Marvel movies tend to run pretty long, but I don't know, man. I like a shorter movie sometimes. Besides that, what didn't I like? I don't know, man. Casting was pretty good. I like how the
casting was great. Yeah,
it had a lot of Asian American characters, and that was great. Just for representation, you kind of have to for this movie, right? But yeah, I don't know. Didn't dislike too much stuff. What about you, man?
So there's something that Brian said earlier. I'm bringing it up. So Brian said earlier in the show, do you think Shang-Chi is an ass for not checking on his sister? Yeah. And I think that whole part of the movie should have been explained a little bit more. And now you're saying like you didn't like the length of it. You probably could have made some of the fight scenes a little bit more shorter to give that, but also like knowing this character, the fight scenes had to have been perfect, which for me, the fight scenes were perfect. They I don't know if you knew they use Jackie Chan's fight coordinator was the fight coordinator for this film. So dude, like not many films are, say that that you get Jackie Chan's fighting guy. So
That's pretty dope.
So I don't know if he would cut it there or whatnot, but I just felt like I wanted more between him and his sister. You know what I mean? Like actually show it on screen or something, because like they showed all the flashbacks in the movie, and when it came to what happened with her, it was just a quick 2-minute maybe like explanation that she was explaining to Katie, like what happened after Shang-Chi never came back and what she did and blah blah blah. And I was like, I wanted to see that. I wanted to see the little girl like be devastated that her brother's gone. Is he dead? Did he run away? Like what happened? Because I'm like, there's so many emotions that she just, well, it's not like she just lost her mom, but she lost her mom not that long ago, and they kind of, I feel like that wound never closed. So I wanted more between that, but he was an ass for not checking on his sister. 100% an ass for that. But also it's like he was a boy at the time. He was 14, 13 when he had left to go kill the guy who killed his mom. So you're trying to like, can't really blame a 14-year-old boy for making a decision like that. And it's rough, man. It's rough. But yeah, that was one thing.
I mean, he was given a traumatizing task. He was he was given the task to go kill the killer of his mom. And like, how do you even digest that like by itself? He pulled a freaking Simba from fucking Lion King. He just dipped. He's like, nope.
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, Brian said 2 hour is standard for Marvel movie, but I hear you. Shang-Chi Origins take time. It did, man. It did. I think they did a good job at his origins. But there's a lot more they can get into. It was similar to Black Widow. For you too.
Yeah, with the whole assassin thing and raising an assassin, and yeah, it had a lot of similarities to Black Widow.
Yeah, but I think Black Widow being able to see it at home, the time flies a little differently than when you're at the theater. Even if you're in a comfy seat, you tend to kind of squirm a little bit. Like if you're at home, you could be in your underwear, chilling on your couch. So it's a little different. Even with the sister thing, I had the sister thing with the Black Widow. Yeah, leaving her at home. That's one thing this movie did though too, was I felt like take other things that other Marvel movies did, because there's the big fight scene at the end, with the two families kind of fighting. They did, Black Panther. That was very Black Panther-y kind of esque, where like, this family who's sticking around with these guys and this family who's sticking around with these guys, kind of, fighting their thing. The whole sister thing with Black Widow, and Shang-Chi, I can see that a lot. And just I don't know. I'm trying to think. There was something else I didn't care for too much. I don't know. That was about it. Really, that really like bugged me. Is like I wanted to see. I wanted to see more of the sister kind of stuff, because they do set her up to be a very important person in the storyline, and I was like, I want to know her, all the BS she went through because of her brother, so maybe they could show that later, but yeah, one thing I did want to mention that I know Martin had said either is he was Ben Kingsley the Mandarin, like, so Trevor, who played Ben Kingsley, played Trevor, who was the actor. I was so happy and surprised that he was in this movie as much as he was. I thought it was gonna be a quick, like, oh hey, look, he's there. Like, no, he played a pretty big role in the movie altogether. I did not expect him. He was kind of the translator between him and that little I don't know, faceless pig with wings thing. The wing faceless wing monster. I forgot what he called him. Marv or Murph? What do you call him? What he called him? He gave him a name. But he like it made little noises, and Trevor spoke to it. And the best part is like when that creature comes around the corner and Aquafina and Katie and Shang-Chi like scream. They're like, "What is that?" And Trevor's like, "Oh, you can see it too." Like he thought he was like he's been there for so long. He thought he was crazy that he was
Oh my
making up
God.
things in his head. I thought that was such a good part. Just
That was good.
everything about it, the whole scene where he's in the car and they're waiting for the force to open, kind of thing. And he's saying what made him become an actor with the Planet of the Apes, and he's like, "If the apes can act," he goes, "I can act." It was so
That was good.
so good. So like, it wasn't meant to be funny because this guy's like
No.
obviously legit mentally ill. Plus, he had all the drug problems.
Right.
But Ben Kingsley was so good in this movie, and it was Trevor having that much in it. Even at the end when he pretended like to play dead and the little creature came, he's like, "Oh, play dead too," and he kind of like went belly up and was like,
that was good.
Yeah, so Trevor was awesome for me. So Brian said, "I felt like he had a connection to the dragon, and then never delivered." Yeah, I was hoping there would have been maybe like the dragon would have gave him some of his powers to go beat him or something, Yeah, that was a thing. It was just like I was waiting for the dragon and him to have a moment, eye to eye, stare at each other and see each other's soul or something, But it was just like the dragon came awake when the bad guy came out, the bad demon thing. And then that was kind of it. And then he helped them beat it, But yeah. Even at the end when Shang-Chi gets the ring, like he was able to use everything his dad taught him and everything his mom taught him and his aunt, I guess, to like take some of the rings from his dad. I thought that was really interesting, He's like, he goes, "Oh, you got I'm gonna take 5." And then they were kind of like fighting with that. So that was pretty cool. Like I didn't really expect that, I thought he was gonna like lose his worth to them, and like they will fall off and then they will find like Shang because he's like worthy or something. But they even changed colors. They were blue with the Mandarin and yellow goldish with Shang. So that was pretty good. But I'm trying to think of other bad stuff. I
kind of wish we had more dragon stuff. Maybe that's just me, but I kind of wish we had more. More dragon interacting because we had the whole scale wall portal looking thing and so much dragon theme stuff in here. And I know we had some kind of dragon scenes, little fighting scenes and whatnot, but like I wish we had more of that. I wish if the dragon couldn't carry the rings, that would have been weird. Like give them some powers.
Yeah, or like like I don't know, the rings would have became worthless and then the dragon brought them back to life or something. Yeah, that was just something a little bit more I want to see. See, Brian said when she got the soul suckers off the dragon's eyes and it was like they just stopped with a character arc until the end scene. Pretty much. I mean, well, she helped at the end of defeat, kind of thing. Like they were both riding the dragon at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the sister's gonna have her own story, which anybody watching live, we're gonna get a little post show where we talk about the end credits because there's a kind of important end credit that has to do with the sister. So
stay tuned.
But yeah. But cool, man. You want to get into our ratings? I know we'll be going on for a while.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do some quick ratings. So over here at the Spoiler Kings, we like to review films, movies in a specific way. We give it either one of 3 ratings. It's either a watch now, watch later, or a watch never. Watch now means you have to drop everything you're doing, go to the theaters, go watch this thing. Watch later means catch it on the fly, maybe when it comes on TV. And then a watch never means don't even give it any time of day. What'd you think about the film, man?
Oh man, I don't think it's any surprise. I am giving Shang-Chi a now. I mean, it instantly became one of my favorite Marvel movies. it was everything about it was just so well done. Like even the things even the things I didn't like because I wanted more of it. I didn't like it because it was bad. I wanted more, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is a now movie. You know, the post credit scene, mind blowing for me. It was like I'm like, holy crap! Like it was just like so much happened just in that like few minutes, but the 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 way the chemistry between Aquafina and Sim Yu Sim, the guy who plays Shang-Chi. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
learning your name, dude. They had good chemistry on screen. I like that they were kind of like able to like Aquafina was able to be goofy, and then he was able to be kind of serious and goofy at the same time. So
Can I bet?
yes, I'm bedtime. But yeah, man. I was giving it definitely a watch now. Really, really one of my favorites, like automatically. What about you?
Yeah. For me, Shang-Chi and Legend of Ten Rings is definitely a watch now. I agree with you. Very good character development. Even though, like, I feel like the movie was long, it was a good long, just because they kept me captivated the whole time. I did like the storyline. Everything was kind of more believable because you got more relatable, villain that's, that his only weakness is love. It's super nice story. And for that, yeah, I definitely give it a watch now.
Yeah.
That's what Marvel does, man.
Yeah.
They make great stories appear on screen. That's their thing.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, even when they make, at worst, Marvel makes a okay movie.
Yeah.
Like they've gone past that never, stage. Like, our never rating. The last never one would probably be Thor Dark World, maybe. Maybe Iron Man 2, 3 kind of sucked. But
Yeah.
even those I would give more of a watch later, but Marvel knows how to make good movies. Now if only Disney can get their shit together with the money, because that's something we'll probably talk about on Thursday. Is Marvel or Disney and the money, and the Scarlett Johansson issue is getting worse. Right when you think it's over, more shit comes out. But we also like to do what Rotten Tomatoes gives it. So Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 92% on the tomato meter and a 98% for the audience score. So it is certified fresh on there. Huge, man. Both over 90%. That's really, really good for that.
Really good reception.
Yeah, I haven't heard that many I haven't heard that many bad people, like anybody talk bad about it, like legit. Like even on the ratings, I don't know what this one is. The O tray. It's like OOH tray. The O tray. I don't know.
Tray.
They gave their review. This is their review. Boiled tofu, and they gave it a bad review. What? Like, how is that even legit under the critics? Like, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That's silly. But like, that's the stuff.
Did they even watch the? Did they watch the movie?
Yeah, but like some of the top critics, let's see what it says. I'm trying to do a quick proofread. It says that the actor brought flair, grace, and touch of steel to an aging Avengers lineup, which I agree because everyone's getting a little bit old. Even Thor, obviously he's a god, but he's people seen, they know what he's all about. This is like a very new, like, hey, here's this cool character, kind of stuff. We got Oli. Oli said this is a now. That's her rating for it.
Nice.
So all the way around, everyone likes it. But yeah, some of the reviews I'm trying to look, but a lot of them are really, really long. One person said Shang-Chi is a strong step forward for the MCU, which I agree, because after Infinity War, people were like, "There's nothing to do. You're done. Like Marvel's gonna be done after this. Like it's stupid." And I was like, "What?" Like this movie brought it right back in, right back in. And I think Eternals is one of the next bigger kind of ones, and I think that's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
But so obviously, like we said in the beginning of the show, this was only in theaters.
Yeah.
Did not. I think it's gonna be in 45 days. It'll come on Disney Plus. It'll be able to stream. That's their, I think, their contract they have. So it smashed the previous Labor Day box office record during COVID. You know,
Damn.
granted, it's not last year's COVID, you know, but they're it's still pretty bad.
Damn.
71.4 million in its debut, which is it, but that breaks the record.
Yeah.
That breaks the record. I think for the long 4-day weekend, because it's Labor Day, or
Yep.
I guess, well, yeah, because you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. No, 83.5 with the holiday weekend.
Damn.
So, and it globally was 139.7 globally. So
pretty well.
So domestic was 83.5 over the 4 days. Yeah. And so Rob Zombie's Halloween reboot in 2007 made 30.6 million. And that was the previous Labor Day record holder.
Wow.
This movie it made double over that.
Double. Wow.
So, yeah. Yeah. So
Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. Not bad, man. Not bad. And now I think that definitely opens the door for everything else. I know we won't get too much of it here, but the Thursday show, we'll probably get more into some of the other stuff with movies, because Venom, they changed their date again, and they're like, you know, they're like, oh, we're doing this. Like, oh, we're doing this. So they pushed it back to like the end of October. Now it's the beginning of October because the movie did so well. They're like, hey, we're gonna be right behind you. So I think Spider-Man's gonna have a good window to do it. So be interesting, man. Be interesting. But yeah, man. Anything else before we bring this into our post show?
Nah. I'm ready for the post show. We're good.
Yeah. So if you're watching this live, stick around. We're gonna talk about the post-credit scenes at the end of Shang-Chi. If you're watching us on replay, you know, wait until we pull out the video for the post-credits explained video, which should be tomorrow if you're watching it on the replay. But until then, make sure you check out all of the Nerd Huddle. So we got Panda and Grizzly, which is our Chicago football guys. Fancy football's coming around. They're gonna help you out with your Tuesday waiver wires. Wednesday, Dynasty Pylon. They do Dynasty and IDP football. But they said they are ready to help out with any kind of fantasy football questions on Wednesday. Thursday, they would just become best friends, where we do all your trending, nerdy kind of stuff. And I know we're gonna talk about a bunch of the other stuff, especially like stuff that is going to happen because of this movie. We're definitely gonna get into that. And then Will, you're always welcome to come on Thursdays, man. Like, you know, because we already talked about this movie. Now we're gonna talk about what this movie is gonna do for the rest of the MCU. We're gonna get extra nerdy with it. And then Sunday, the morning spike, and we just help you out with your fantasy football right before the game time on Sundays. And then every Monday, right here, Spoiler Kings movie review on this channel. We you know, give you all your new blockbuster videos that come out that weekend. I don't know what's coming up next weekend because everything kind of got switched around. But we'll let you guys know what we're doing next week for Sunday or for Monday. Sorry. Yeah.
Check out the socials. We'll definitely post on there for sure. At the Nut Hurdle.
Yeah. Where we at? Where's that showing? There we go. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to our channel, the Nerd Huddle, Dynasty Pylon, and everyone else part of the Nerd Huddle network. All the links are in the description, so make sure you give everyone some love. I think we're at 18 subs, so my goal is by the end of October, I want to get to 25 because all the good movies are coming out. So you want to be part of the show, make sure you subscribe. Join us every Monday. Obviously, we talk about comments and everything like that, and then every so often we do some post shows, so you get to get 2 videos for the price of 1. Stuff like that. So make sure you subscribe to us and over at the Nerd Huddle. But that is it from us right now. we're just gonna go straight into the post show. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.